Jackson Smith-Njigba to score an anytime touchdown, plus 100. Hell of a price for a guy who's found the end zone 10 times in his last 14 games, especially when you factor in the matchup against the Rams. Since week 13, only 2 teams have given up more passing touchdowns than the Rams. The Jets and the Cardinals. That's not the type of company you want to keep. 16 total passing touchdowns allowed since week 13. That's 2 per game. Again, great price for JSN to find the end zone. On top of that, let's look at his teammate, A.J. Barner. 4+ receptions. Great buy low price because he had 0 targets against the Niners last week. Wasn't even a factor in the passing game. But this dude shows up in these matchups against the Rams. 2 games this year, targeted 17 times. 14 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Darnold under pressure, finds his security blanket, checks it down. Barner gets us 4 more receptions. And then finally, let's go to the other side. Matthew Stafford, longest completion, 35 or more yards. Sean McVay knows how to dial it up against a Mike Macdonald defense. And that's not just against Macdonald's Seahawks, it's against Macdonald's Ravens as well. If you go back in time, the last matchup Stafford had against this team in Seattle that went to overtime, 4 completions of 40 or more yards. We just need 1 to hit 35. I'm confident we'll get that here, Green.
That's really good. All right, if you like those picks, it's a parlay right now. We'll recap it. JSN to score, A.J. Barner 4 more catches, Stafford to complete a 35-yard pass. It's a parlay on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Look for the Hitting the Mark featured parlay. It's priced at plus 600 odds. So let's dive into this game, and let's focus on the quarterback in L.A. for the moment here. Matthew Stafford, whose career has been fascinating to watch if you like a sort of a dramatic narrative, drafted in Detroit, #1 overall pick, terrible teams all those years, was obviously an excellent player, but the question is, well, is his team so bad that it's dragging him down? He can't lift it up, all the rest of that. Gets to L.A., wins a Super Bowl. Now he could put together the back-to-back 1-2 punch of winning MVP and a second Super Bowl. So that is a guaranteed ticket to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he does it because he makes throws, Lewis, like almost no one else ever.
Yeah, and look, Matthew's the most talented thrower of the football I've ever seen. And I played against some of the great ones. I played against Marino, Steve Young, Brett Favre, John Elway. This guy can do things with the football that you just do not see. I mean, you look at this throw. I know this is a 12-yard completion, opposite hash in this weather. To put that football where he put it, and that was a no-look pass also, folks, which he does on a regular basis, that's just sick. Look at this throw here. Look at what he does to the linebacker here on this 40-yard touchdown to Puka Nacua. This is also in overtime. This no look. It's on a freaking rope. And he does it like he's just out there throwing football in the backyard with his daughters. This is the one, though. Look at this completion. Puka is basically double covered. He's vice both short and deep. And he throws this into a window where Puka goes up one hand and catches it. That is ultimate trust. That's athletic arrogance at its finest. And you only do that because you're saying, I'm the only person on earth who can do this. So I'm going to do it, and they're empowering me to do it. And that's how you throw, since he became a starter in 2011 in Detroit, that's how you throw for 62,000 yards and 400 touchdowns. #1 since 2011. This is a bad dude now. We're seeing greatness. And if he wins the Super Bowl this year, stamp it. See you in Hall of Fame.
Orlovsky, of course, was his teammate for all these years, and he tells great stories about how they would be sitting in film after a game, and he'd look at a throw like that, and Dan would say to him, "Why would you throw that?"
Yeah.
And Stafford would say, "Because I can."
That's right.
He's one of the very few people.
Right.
And you were talking about playing against him. By the way, special treat. Bart Scott versus Matthew Stafford, circa 2010.
Uh-oh. Let's go. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Let's take a look.
Can't stop a nosebleed.
Here we go. That's Matthew Stafford. This is November 7th, 2010. Where's Bart Scott?
Did you get him, Bart? Did you get him? Come on, you got him, huh? Man, barbecue chicken, baby.
Jogging best up.
Let go of his ankle, Bart.
First of all, that's my hood right there. That's my crib. 313. What up, though? But I tell you what, I like how Sweet Lou tried to airdrop. You know what I'm saying? John Elway, Marino. Well, I played against Peyton. I played against Brady. I played against Breeze. I played against McNair. And we shut them all down. This was the most talented guy that I went against. I mean, you talk about his ability, and he was just a victim of his environment, right? He could, the Lions couldn't get out their own way. I'm a Lions fan. But if he does this, I think this catapults him into top 10 quarterback of all time. He's having a great ending to his career. I don't know if he decides to ride off into the sunset, but he's been deserved his flowers far before this, because what he was doing in Detroit with just one player, Matthew Stafford, and Megatron, you know what I'm saying, was believable, unbelievable. And some of the things he could do with the ball, but just his competitive nature, his comebacks, you know, all those things. Like the fact that he's got an opportunity to win 2 Super Bowls, I think catapults him above Breeze. And I always said this. I believe that if he played in Green Bay wins multiple Super Bowls underneath Matthew Stafford.
I would add that, you know, Lewis showed such great footage. Those are clutch time throws.
Yeah,
the Adams throw is in overtime. The one to Puka against Seattle is in overtime. You go to the Super Bowl, the throw he had to Kupp where he's looking at, fourth quarter, down, big, against the Buccaneers in that run in the NFC divisional round where he has that pass to Cooper Kupp across the middle. Big fourth quarter plays, and the thing that players respect the most, there's no tougher person in the NFL than Matthew Stafford. Plays hurt every week, gets up, and takes a ass kicking and always is able to get up.
I remember us talking about him before the season started. We're sitting there worried about whether or not he can even play.
Thought he had the Larry Bird Olympic back.
But I would say this, because of what you said, Bart, and what you showed, Lewis, and what you're adding, Schrags, that's why it's important for me, when it comes to Seattle and their defense, you have to make Matthew Stafford as uncomfortable as possible. If you sit back there and allow him to carve you up left and right, he's going to throw for over 400. He's going to find Devontae Adams, who didn't play in the last matchup. He's going to find Puka Nacua. He's going to find his tight ends. So if I'm that defensive line, that front 7 for Seattle, you got to make life a living hell for Matthew Stafford, because if you don't, there's an opportunity that he's going to shine, and the Rams are going to be going into the Super Bowl.
But you're a basketball guy. If you reach, I teach, though. So if you decide to heat him up, you're going to create and give him a picture. He's seen it all. 62,000 yards passing. He's been in the league for a long time. So you try and blitz him and heat him up.
I'm not saying blitz him, because Seattle, they have one of the best defensive lines in the entire NFL. If you can get home with your front without blitzing, that's what I'm talking about.
Joe just told us that ain't happened. It ain't happened in recent times.
Let's get to Fortenbaugh over there for a best bet on this one. The Seahawks are a 2.5-point favorite at DraftKings as we speak. Joe, which way on that are you looking?
Laying it with Seattle, 2 key reasons. Let's start with the Rams defense. Since week 13, completely fallen off a cliff. 22nd or worse in scoring, efficiency, and EPA. You just saw them last week. They survived the Bears, giving up 417 total yards in the process. Point number 2, perhaps the more important point. This is LA's 7th road game in 9 weeks. 7th road game in 9 weeks. That's only happened one time since 1985. It was the Niners in 2021 when they were in the NFC Championship game, losing in LA against the Rams.
All right, so it's a tough road for the Rams, especially coming off of an overtime, actually back-to-back overtime games. No, they won the game in regulation, but it was right at the very end in Carolina, and then overtime last week in the frigid Soldier Field, and we see we're split down the middle on these picks here. So it's an outstanding weekend. DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets. If your bet wins, download the app, use the promo code GETUP when you sign up. Coming up, Buffalo hits the reset button, but who could lead the Bills back to the Super Bowl? Could Brian Daboll be the answer? We've got the insight on the latest on that coaching search. Plus, what is going on in Philly? Eagles can't land a coach.